Why is it particularly important for millennials to get out in the November election coming up?
Okay. This November, there will be several amendments on the ballot that are critical. First, there's Amendment 1, and I'm not sure how familiar you all are with that, but it concerns abortion rights. And I think it's, first of all, vitally important that millennials understand the amendment, okay, and understand what is going on with the amendment. No matter what your political views are, whether you're pro-choice or pro-life, you need to understand that that is being impacted in the November election.
It is a federal election, and federal elections mean that we elect leaders statewide, and we elect our U.S. congressmen and our U.S. senators, and that should be the impetus to vote, to know that what you're doing now is electing leadership that will represent you and your communities on a national level. Not just locally, but on a national level. And with all the things that are going on in the world, from ISIS to equal pay for women, to just so many different things that they are responsible for. You got to be you have to be clued in, you have to be plugged in, you have to be involved.
Locally, we have Lee Harris, who's going to be running for state senate. And even though he may not have significant opposition, we need to make sure that he gets elected. Secondly, Congressman Cohen has a challenger that has challenged him before, but we need to ensure that he gets reelected. It's important that Memphis gets recognized and gets the resources that it needs to continue on down the path.
On the November ballot, you have Amendment 2. And it's a highly, as all amendments, when you get in there and you see, what's written on the page, most people are like, I don't even understand, these 5 sentences. But so that's why it's important that we inform ourselves before going into the voting booth about these amendments. Amendment 2 concerns, in particular to me, how appellate judges will be selected in the future. So there's been controversy for quite some time about how appellate judges will be elected or selected. And Amendment 2 is being put forth as somewhat of a compromise amendment, so to speak. So we will know with certainty, even though the Supreme Court has ruled that we are constitutional, we are elected and appointed, that process that we have in place now is constitutional. So it's vitally important that the millennials understand that, because these are judges at the highest levels of our justice system.
The November election begins to chart the pathway to the next city election, which is in 2015. And if millennials do not vote, then they could presumably be purged from the election roll. And so we need to make sure that you vote, particularly in the off election year, so that number one, Lee Harris and Congressman Cohen can get reelected. And secondly, you set the tone for the next city election in 2015.
Why vote? Because they're representing us in the world.
To understand that you have a role in how these people are put into office. And as I was running this past August for my position, it became abundantly clear to me that ordinary people, did not know how I was put into office in the first place. So this past August, going through the election process, as well as trying to educate people now about Amendment 2, letting folks know that, hey, look, your voice is being impacted. If you ever by chance go into the civil court system, if you ever by chance are a victim of some crime, at some point in your life, you are going to be impacted by the justice system. And so you need to know how these judges get there, because they will impact your life. And Amendment 2 speaks to that. So again, I think it's important that we understand what it is, but truly I think the last number I heard was about 40%, and you may know more about that. The millennials will make up 40% of the voting population in 2020. So this really is your future and your world. So it's up to you to understand what that world is going to be like.